All right. Welcome to Leafman Podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Taylor. This is my co-host.
Brooks. And what episode is this?
Ooh, 15? 15.
Nice.
Yeah, 15.
I would have said 12.
Yeah, we're on 15, dude. Yeah. Speaking of, dude, I was just on the it's called Comeback Podcast, but I was just on that podcast. That was cool. They did it all via Zoom, so it was a different experience, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. It's cool though.
Yeah, it was cool.
I did not listen to it, but it seems cool. It seems like cool, and I scrolled through their page a little bit.
Yeah. It's like an LDS one for people who like found their way back to church and stuff. So
maybe me one day. Maybe one day.
hard for you to relate, but
We'll
Okay, so here we go. I got a couple of good ones. You said you were having a hard time coming up with some stuff.
Yeah, I got one, and then one that's just you guys are gonna hate it as you always do. But and then I have one that I looked over and saw what you were writing, and I was like, maybe I'll go off of that.
Okay.
All
right.
You can read yours first. Unless do we want to read them all at the beginning, or do we just kind of want to work our way through them? What are you thinking?
I don't know, man. It's gonna change 1,000 times. So let's just pick one. Let's just go through them as we go.
Okay.
So
Let me start then. Okay. Mine's unimportant.
Okay.
Actually, it's unimportant to you guys.
Okay.
But I would just like to congratulate the fucking Golden Knights on their first Stanley Cup, and which is pretty incredible, being one of the newest teams in the league. And honestly, it was a hell of a series, and it was so fun to watch. And by saying it was a hell of a series, they dominated.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen a lot in the Stanley Cup.
Interesting. So, I don't watch hockey.
So good for them. So there's my little hockey tidbit for the day.
I don't know anything about it, so congratulations to the Golden Knights and whoever watches them and listens to them and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about the Golden Knights, but good for them.
Yeah. All right, so anyways, I talked about it in my social media story. I'm pretty passionate about it. I went through and I just unfollowed so many political pages, dude. And I understand that like we all need to be aware and cognizant, but it's gotten to the point where both sides are fear-mongering, I feel like.
Yeah,
it's just always this terrible thing and collusion with Russia and collusion with China and Biden and Trump and yada, 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 dude. Like, we all know that there's corruption going on and nothing can really be done about it right now. I don't work in the Supreme Court. I don't have a vote in who's going to go to court. Like, I will be active when there is a chance for me to be active, which is when the next election happens or when there's local elections happening. In the meantime, all of those things are just like, I just feel like just it's just a way to get you to subscribe to their page and like drive fear into your heart. And then, oh, by the way, buy my stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. I just like, I'm a little bit passionate about it because I feel like it's so stressful for people in this day and age to just see this like stuff about corruption everywhere over and over and over and over and over again. And in reality, dude, like, you know what? There have been multiple world wars. There have been lots of things that have gone wrong in the world and in the United States alone. And you know what happens every single time? People become resilient and they learn how to get through that. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but the hard workers will always be a step above the other people. And the people who are kind and contribute and care about one another will learn how to help each other and like make it through difficult times. So like, instead of thinking to yourself, I'm going to be in an internment camp, think to yourself, how do I get through this next difficult task? And go do that.
Right, because we're not close to the internment camps. And my thing that I wrote down is what plays off of this one is like, I feel like there's a way to go about being informed, because what I wrote was how much social media should we ignore? How much information should we sacrifice to avoid the fear-mongering and all that? Mm-hmm. I feel like it's all about targeted listening.
Yeah.
Like you and me, I mean, sure, over the years, we've started following like, random people that most of them are just pundits. They're not people in the world. They're not investigative journalists. They're pundits that are speaking out of self-preservation and progression in whatever it is that they're doing. Like you said, like either they're selling product or they're getting paid $2 million a year to say exactly what's on the teleprompter by Fox News. I feel like it's just about learning who to listen to, and that's even hard too, because I'm a big fan of Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, huge. I wish she would run again, but she went from being a Democrat kind of over to the Republican side, and now she's like on Fox News a lot, but she still doesn't sacrifice her views. Like I feel like you just have to know who to listen to, and there's also independent stuff that you can listen to, like Substack. You don't have to get your news from Instagram and
which
Facebook.
everyone does.
Which everyone does. And that's where their argument comes from. Sarah's mom. Anyways.
There are people that do stuff like that. I feel like our parents' generation or even our generation, most people don't really even watch the news anymore. Everyone gets their stuff from social media and they're like, oh, this is true because I found it on some small local page. And look, he has like a fact thing on there. And so like Facebook and Instagram, and it started this fact checker thing, which came out to be garbage because
but the news is no better now.
Yeah, so it's like this corruption everywhere. There's no idea. Honestly, I personally believe that it's so diluted right now, it's almost impossible to find an actual fact. And it's almost impossible to find what is the truth and what is a lie. I mean, you can do it. I think you can do it, but it's just so much effort and I don't have time to put in all that effort. So like I trust certain people and I focus on the things that I can change. Can I change? I can't change the fact that gas is $6, $4 a gallon right now.
Right.
But I can change the fact that like I have employees and we could upcharge a little bit on this job and I could get them more efficient and that's how we cover our fuel charges. Or like I can't change the fact that like there's corruption in our government. Like I literally, there's nothing I can do about that. And a lot of people say, oh, you have the power. I literally don't. Like what could I go do right now? Nothing. Like
right. Until the next voting cycle.
Until the next voting cycle. And maybe I could start.
My job is done.
Yeah. And maybe I could start a petition. But you know what I think is better than starting a petition or starting the revolution or being the next, George Washington is maybe just don't be a sucky butthole to like the people around you. Maybe focus on changing your community, and if everyone focused on changing their community, it would change the United States.
Yeah, for sure. And even in the community is a large enough task in and of itself.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to change anything in a community, you know
yeah.
what I mean? So
change your attitude towards the people that you see every day.
Yeah, and I feel like the answer to the social media thing, like I said, is because you said you can't find a fact. Well, you can, you just don't know it when you see it, but you have to understand that people nowadays have to do like all this research and figure out who has been consistent for how long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like on Substack, there's this guy named Glenn Greenwald.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other guy, I forget his name. But he's been an investigative reporter forever, and he only reports stuff that he knows and can corroborate in his index of his article.
Yeah.
Like, this is exactly why I know this is a fact. Go look it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like people that cite their stuff so that even when they're not, like, even when it's a little iffy, like, I've seen some, like, conservatives and Democrats and stuff like that, like, they'll say something, I'm like, you know what? That's not, like, super bipartisan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not super divided. That's kind of in the middle. I like that. And then it'll say, like, in the index, it'll be like, it'll give where they got that information, and I'll go to where they got that information, and it's like The Blaze. I'm like,
that is nice.
Damn it!
Come on, you had me. I was so set in there, and then you just didn't do it. Yeah, I'm with you, man. You know what's funny too is like it kind of leads into this other thing that I was going to talk about.
It better.
Staying calm during stressful times, but like it kind of. People say that there's like personal truths, right? People are like, this is my personal truth. And I used to like really hate that because like there are truths and there are fallacies, in my opinion. But when it comes to like looking stuff up on the internet and finding truths, or me talking about the stuff on the podcast that I know to be true, there are personal truths because I know these things to be true because I have done them and they worked for me. But just because they work for me doesn't mean they work for you. For instance, I could be nice to 100 people and have one bad day and talk to one person very poorly and treat them like garbage. That person's personal truth is that I'm a butthole. Everyone else's, the other 99%,
because
their
that was
truth,
their only interaction.
Yeah, that was the only interaction. The other 99%, their personal truth is that I'm a pretty good guy. So like, it's like perspective, right? And so when you go through all these facts and you look through all this stuff on the internet, people often confuse the fact that like, that's a truth with like, that's my personal truth. Your personal truth might be like, hey, that guy like said something that I don't agree with and therefore he's a bad person. But can you set aside your personal feelings and understand that like whatever he's saying might be true to the general consensus or the general public or whatever.
Right. Or that he's sorry. He had a bad moment.
He had a bad moment. We all have bad moments, dude. Like,
for sure. You and me have both, if you and me both have a bad day on the same day, our communication collapses. And it's in a big way. And it's hilarious because I feel like I remember the funniest one that ever happened was I don't even remember what was said, but I just remember that I'd been doing something and I felt like it was pointless when I hung up with you. And I was like, well, and I closed my laptop and, symbolically unplugged it. and then like,
Yeah.
just like walked out. I was like, well, guess I don't need a laptop anymore.
yeah. It just completely
and you lose all sense of just
everything.
Couth, if you will, tact. Both good words.
Well, yeah, so that kind of leads into staying calm during stressful times, which we've talked about a bunch of times on the podcast. We're going to repeat ourselves 1,000 times with 1,000 different things. But
I can't wait.
Staying calm during stressful times, like now. I guess I'm speaking more generally instead of like in your own personal life. When the world is in turmoil around you, what can you do to maintain your calm and maintain like a cool under pressure? And I think that it's to understand the things that you can control and understand the things that you can't control. And it's kind of like what is it in AA? Give me like the Serenity Prayer. Help me to
give me the strength that I cannot. God, I haven't been
whatever.
So long.
To control the things I can and let go of the things I can't, or whatever.
The strength to control the things I can.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the end.
Yeah, but basically, like,
it's a good poem.
There are things that you can change and things that you can't, right? Like, I can't change the president overnight. It's not going to happen. So you have to learn to work within those parameters and find happiness. And some people get so stuck on the destination that they can't enjoy the journey. So they're like, well, once we get the next president, then I'll be happy. No, you won't.
No, you won't.
Learn how to be happy right now. That's what you can change. That's what you can control. Learn how to be happy right now. And you and I are honestly probably pretty blessed. Like, I feel like I'm a very happy guy naturally. I don't have to like work for that, I don't think. I'm pretty at peace and calm. But there are people who have like a lot of inner turmoil. And to them, I would tell you, like, again, think about things you can control, think about things you can't, and the ones that you can, go be proactive in them. I promise it will get rid of your anxiety. I promise.
Right, like I'm sure a ton of people are going to disagree with this, so have fun. But outside of how everyone around us and around me reacts to it, I have never felt a significant change in my life with the changing of who's the president.
Yeah.
Like it has never changed my day-to-day life outside of gas prices, and who knows what that's not the president, that's the state of the world. Like that's what's happening. Yeah. But anyways, like I want The Rock to be president. That way everyone can be like, we all like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's people just get so caught up on those things instead of they focus on the macro instead of the micro, right? So like
it's hive mentality because they're seeing everyone else do it. Everyone has to outwoke each other or out I'm pro gun each other. You know what I mean?
You could be the guy that has the wife, the job, good family and friends, a house. You could have all the things and wake up every day and be like, well, today's gonna be sucky because the government's corrupt and the world's coming to an end. Or you could wake up every day and be like, dang, dude, got a smoking hot wife right next to me in bed. Got a good job, get to go hang out with my friends. And I'm going to like, instead of being a butthole to the guy at the gas station, I'm going to ask him how he's doing, maybe pay for the guy's drink behind me and just like enjoy my day.
Right.
And if everyone like focused on that, their life would be so much happier and better than if they were not so focused on all these big negative things that they can do nothing about currently.
Yeah. Everyone's constantly reacting, and this is obviously given, but everyone is constantly reacting to what's around them. I just feel like too many people focus on how other people are reacting to things around them, so that influences them to react a certain way. It takes away their individual freedom.
Yeah.
To make a decision that they would normally make when they're like, oh, all these people can't be wrong. They are. A lot of them. Yeah. Everyone's mad. For like a good example would be like everyone's mad at work. And you end up being mad like them and you don't even know what you're mad about. Like the truck went down, it has nothing to do with you. You're on a different job site. Why are you so mad about that truck going down? It doesn't affect your day at all. Yes. And you're letting it affect your day. Yeah, cool. That sucks. Feel bad for your friends a little bit. Hey, you guys doing okay? But like, honestly, it doesn't really affect you negatively. So get over it. Exactly. I feel you.
And that's kind of like leads into like the last thing I was kind of thinking about and wanted to talk about. And that's leadership from the front as opposed to leadership from the back, and then letting people learn on their own is not being an inactive leader. And I think people get confused a lot. And I think it's like a key phrase, and you see all these alpha gurus on the internet, lead from the front, lead from the front, you know, be a king, be an alpha. And it's
Are
like,
you a bad dad? Just lead from the front.
just lead from the front. It's just like keywords, dude, keywords. And it's just,
proud of them.
yeah, wonderful. But you know what? Honestly, sometimes leading from the front means leading from the back, because your job as a leader is to train other leaders, and they can't learn how to be a leader if you are always in the front. Sometimes you got to take a step back, let somebody else do that, and be a follower. A lot of leaders like don't know how to follow, and that's why they suck at being leaders, because they don't know how to just let a guy do his thing.
To learn how to do it without you, because dude, this is a perfect example. Anyways, new show on Hulu, Food Stars, Gordon Ramsay. So he has a bunch of people come in that own restaurants. And he's looking for someone, and they do all these challenges, and he sees how good they are at business and marketing and stuff like that, and all these little challenges. But there's this guy. He's like, unfortunately, I have to drop out of the competition. And Gordon Ramsay's looking for someone to invest in, like $250,000.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, I have to drop out, even though this is the opportunity of a lifetime, and $250,000 would change my restaurant, my life, my restaurant, everything. I have to drop out. And Gordon Ramsay asked me, he's like, I don't totally understand, but if you don't mind me asking, why? And he said, he's just like, my restaurant, they just need me. They can't, they're not running, you know, without it, I just got to be there. And I'm like, dude, like that guy's got a business, and he's a professional, successful business owner, but he has to be there every day to control the flow and make sure stuff, like he had to leave an opportunity to get $250,000 for his restaurant just because they couldn't handle it without him.
100%.
Because he didn't teach someone or let someone learn.
Yeah, he was not patient. He had no patience with teaching people below him. And that means that there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be financial difficulties. There's going to be things that cost you money or things that set you back on time. And like that is part of the learning process. If you want to be a good leader, you're going to have to sacrifice those things. It's not always just about leading. Like sometimes it really is about, hey, you're the next in line. We are building a position.
It can't just be like, oh, let me do it.
Yeah. No. It can't be. You have to take the time. And that goes into parenting too. Like I've thought about this a lot. That goes into parenting too. Always doing things for your kids instead of taking the actual time and patience to let them learn.
I'm not tying my kid's shoe after 1 year.
yeah, dude.
Ever.
Hey, like you gotta like like tying your shoe. Like there's certain things that parents do, but beyond that, there are also things that you need to do. Like
there's a fly in here.
Did you get it? Did you get it?
I got a small one.
Yeah,
not
but
fly.
So yeah, that was kind of like, you know, I know I'm distracted. Let's see here. So taking a step back.
Yeah.
Letting people
with
learn
parenting,
from.
not trying to do it for them.
Yeah, not letting.
That's where we're
at. And so, parenting is the same thing as being a leader in a company. Sometimes it's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you your peace of mind. But that's what it takes, because if you want to step aside, if you really want to lead, then you need to be building leaders, not just employees. And that's kind of like what I've been talking about with our crew a lot is I'm not training you guys to be climbers or arborists. I'm training you to be leaders who happen to work in the tree industry.
Right.
You know, and that's what we need to do, because if you can do that, then it trickles down to everybody. You know, if you can train work ethic and leadership, then all the other stuff will come naturally. It is just a force. You can put a leader with good work ethic in any environment, any job, and he will learn how to do it.
And I also feel like especially with leadership, like in the Army too, and going through pre-ranger like multiple freaking times.
Yeah.
I feel like, and tell me if you feel the same way, but it's almost like the journey, in the middle of the journey of being a leader, there's like a curtain that you pass through where you're like not even sure how to lead, not sure what you're doing. And then you like go through that curtain, and you still got a long way to go as a leader, but you know what it feels like.
Yeah.
And you know how to kind of move forward from there a little better. Like I feel like after I went to pre-ranger my second time, I came back to my normal unit and was like 3 times the team leader I'd ever been.
Yeah.
Because I hit that threshold where I was like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
And leadership is like anything else. It's a perishable skill, right? So you have to like learn and practice and read about it. And every time you upgrade from 6 employees to 7 employees to 8 employees to 9 employees to regional to statewide to multiple stateswide, every time you progress in your leadership, there's going to be nuances. Like I can't imagine what a leader, like Ed Katzmull I read his book, Creativity Inc. He founded Pixar, right? And they started off small, not super small, but relatively small. And by the end, dude, can you imagine leading Pixar? Like, you don't even, their employees, your leadership style has to be so different when you have employees that you've never even spoken a word to.
Well, it's like we always say. Well, it's like we always say. Do you think Bill Gates is out there still writing code?
Yeah, like, no,
No.
man. But your leadership has to be so good that it trickles down through a community of people, right? You have to be so on point that you're not just
And you
teaching.
have to pick the right people.
Yeah, and you have to pick the right people. So your leadership becomes not, again, goes back to training them,
Yeah.
right? So like you're picking the right people as part of your leadership that can also lead the way that you lead. So it's like a pyramid, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, you can't be fielding questions from each one on the way down the ladder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have one guy that comes to you with any questions, but most questions from the bottom up should be squashed
Yeah.
at the quote unquote, like platoon sergeant's
Yeah.
squad leader level.
Until
it shouldn't get to the company first sergeant.
Yeah.
It shouldn't get to bigwigs.
Until it gets to be like the most important question that nobody can answer. Your job is to answer the questions that nobody else can answer because you have experiences that nobody else has experienced. So, anyways,
Agreed.
man, that's kind of all I got today. Got anything else?
No, I don't.
Cool. Next week we're bringing Sarah on.
Yeah, we can have
Or
Sarah.
the next
We can have
podcast.
Sarah come in next time. Either way, next time we'll either do
Brats.
the hot plate, and then just topics, or we can do Sarah. I'll just see what her schedule is. Maybe
Sure.
we can even do 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That sounds good. All right. That's all we got for you guys. Get out of our face.